Hello again, guys. So today we're going to be doing the exercise 13, that is the robot arm. So for that, what I'm going to be doing is I will take a look at the starter. So for that, can go to assignments, exercise 13, almost done with exercises for the class. And I'm going to click on starter. That's going to take you to the right folder. I'm going to hit download. And once I have that, I'm going to unzip the project and I'm going to launch Maya. So as soon as Maya is done loading, I will continue the recording. All right, so Maya is almost done loading. And what I'm going to do now is set up the project, and I will go to my desktop. This is the location I have that, and I'm going to set that as my start project. They're going to hit open, and I'm going to look for an in base, and this is going to be the file that I have for you guys. So I'm going to go down to general, and in here, what I'm going to do is take a look at this mesh. This is a single piece alongside with the ball. There is no skeleton for this thing. So I'm gonna go to the front view, and over here I'm gonna be creating a new joint. So for that I'm gonna go to rigging here in my menu on the top, and I will be clicking on the joint tool. So I'm gonna hold X so it snaps to the grid, and then I'm gonna hold shift and click here and here. Then I'm gonna click here and here. Now, as you can see, everything is hidden. So the first thing that I should have done is say X-ray joints. But if you had any issues with that, you can just always backtrack and delete those. So I'm gonna expand that, shift and click on the plus sign. That's gonna open all of them. This one is going to be my shoulder. This is going to be my elbow. And type to the elbow. This one is going to be my wrist. This one is going to be my finger 1A. Actually, I'm going to call this finger A_L, so it changes the name. Remember, it's to my right, but it's the left of the character. It's always assumed that it's facing towards us. So this one is going to be finger V_L. Okay, now that I have all of those, it's time for me to make sure that all of them are in the right place. So this one is not perfectly centered. And as such, I'm gonna move it, but if I move it, I'm gonna be moving the whole skeleton, sorry. So I'm gonna hold D as in day, and I'm gonna try to center it up. There you go. Now I'm gonna do the same with this one. Hold that, holding D, I'm gonna try to center it. I think it's actually quite centered. There you go. And then I'm gonna do the wrist. The wrist is also centered, so that's good. What about you? Are you centered? More or less. I'm gonna hold D and I'm gonna put it to the center, and this one doesn't really matter that much, but I'm gonna be putting it in on the tip. So something like that. After that, I'm gonna be selecting the root joint, and I'm going to change from modeling to rigging, and under skeleton, I'm gonna go to orient joint. Options. Then I'm going to reset the settings so everything is the same for everybody. So this one, and this one. Orient children of selecting joints and reorient the local axis. That's what I want. So I'm going to hit that. And that way, every single joint is going to be pointing towards the next one, right? So last thing that I'm going to do is I will select this joint here, and I'm going to go to skeleton mirror joint options. This one is going to look for anything that has _L. I should have used lower caps, but I use capitals here, so it doesn't really matter. And make sure that you have the mirror in the YZ axis. So remember, the YZ axis is drawing up and forward to the screen. So it's basically a plane that is going towards you. And that's why I mirror the left to the right. Okay, so mirror that, I will hit apply, and now I have everything that I need for my joints. Now expand that and see the names actually change accordingly to this convention. So that's great. Next thing that I'm going to do is to select that shoulder. I'm going to select the arm, and I will go to my skeleton, and I will say mirror, no, sorry, paint weight. So skin, bind skin options. I'm going to reset these, and this is following the other lecture. So this is going to be not closest distance, but geodesic voxel. Classic linear, I'm going to change to dual quaternion. And max influences, I'm going to make these 4. That's usually a good number for game engines. Maintain max influences. Remove influences. This is something I want to remove. Colorize skeleton, fallout, and that's it. Top resolution is 250 is good for this one. I'm going to see apply and close. And now I'm going to try it. So I'm going to select this mesh and I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to call this mesh underscore layer. There you go. And I'm going to make it unselectable by clicking that L. So that way I can click on the top one without any issues. I'm gonna move these to a position. Any position is fine. I'm gonna select this one. I'm gonna select this one. And I'm gonna select these guys. As you can see, it's deforming in a really weird way, and this is a mechanical object, so it really needs to have separate pieces and stuff in order to work perfectly fine. The ones that I care somewhat the most are gonna be these guys here. This is doing a decent job stretching, but these with 2 lines, they are not doing that right. Too much of a job. So what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna change my view here. And I'm just gonna try to paint it a little bit. I don't want it to be super detailed. So I'm gonna say face, double click on the next one, face, double click on the next one. Then I want to do the same underneath and the same underneath. Now that I have those faces selected, I'm gonna right click and hold with the control key selected. And then I'm gonna say two vertices, two vertices. So I have all of those selected. So that's a quick selection trick. You see that? I could potentially just do these and this, and then this one, and this one, and this one, and this. But it's faster if I just do faces like that. And then I want to change my selection from faces to vertices. So control, right click and hold, two vertices, and there you go. I have that selected. Now with this menu in the rigging, I'm going to click on this. This is the paint weights tab. So I will be making this on the tool settings more towards the wrist than anything else. See, as you can see, they are not completely white. That's what I want. I want a darker white or a clearer white, if anything. So I'm gonna say smooth. Let's see how it works. With that selection on the wrist, smooth, float a little bit. You see how it's fixing that? So smooth is gonna try to make these a better transition, but as usual, whenever you let Maya think for you, it doesn't really do a great job. In this case though, it's somewhat okay, somewhat decent. So I can leave it like that. Another thing that I can do is hit replace and then manually paint the things. I can just make these holding B and then moving it to the left. I can make it go a little bit smaller and I can start painting my head, but I don't really like what I'm doing it in that way. So with that, I think this exercise is done. What I want from you guys is show me the skeleton on a screenshot. So I'm gonna do this, new, and I'm gonna say this. I will save this file, save as. This is E13 underscore Bobadilla L, and this is Bobad. Save that, and that is basically it. If you want to go back to where you had this object before, you just select that and say go skin, and then say go to bind post, and that's going to reset everything. And then you can do the same sort of deal if you want to make animations on these. It's just a matter of setting these guys up as keyframes. So I'll just do a quick example. So I'm going to say S here. I'm going to say S by the end. So it's going to do that. Pendulum motion and select. This is why I like doing these layers, so I don't accidentally click on that. Say here, channels keyable, and by the end, I'm going to do this rotation here, channel scale here. So now if I do these, do this sort of motion. All right, so it's just a quick example. You can do anything with that, but the actual exercise is really just making the paints on this object. So that is it for this one, and I'll catch you on the next one.